Hello and welcome to Your Health Reclaimed with DrPND, where we help you reclaim your health with tips, tools, and resources to live your most optimal and vibrant life. Here's your host, DrPND.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Dr. PND, and this is another episode of Your Health Reclaimed. Today on the podcast, we're going to discuss a very near and dear topic to me and one that I have a great experience in and honestly can vouch greatly for its benefit overall in any aspect of health. And the topic today is going to be strength training. The issue with strength training that has been really is that a lot of people do not know how to do that. They really don't understand really truly what does strength training mean and what are the benefits. But before we dive into that, I really like to go over the things that are benefited from strength training and what the alternative of not doing that can really contribute to the detriment effect of unhealthy aging in a human being. So strength training is extremely important, as I said. Why? Well, as we age, we lose fitness. Fitness is a term that is used generally to describe the attributes of different fitness components, and that is things like strength, obviously, power, speed, stamina, mobility, flexibility, endurance, and balance. But the most important of all fitness components is going to be strength. If you don't have strength, you're not going to have power and you're not going to really have a lot of the other attributes, or at least those attributes will not be optimized by any means, including balance. You can have great balance, but if you don't have strength, you do not, you cannot exercise that balance. Perfect example is a lot of elderly people that see with walkers and canes that do not have neurological damage of some kind, but they just, they're told, well, you don't have good balance. It's not that they don't have good balance, it is that they don't have strength to be able to apply that balance for themselves in order to stand up straight. That's just an example of that. So in our fifth decade, generally speaking, and beyond, we can start to lose a lot of muscle tissue very rapidly, especially nowadays with conveniences of driving and sitting and just kind of generally speaking, not being very, active in labor jobs like people used to have back today. And we tend to lose that muscle tissue very rapidly. Unfortunately, the tissue fibers, those muscle fibers that are most important for strength and power are the ones that are usually lost at a higher rate and usually go first. That's why you see people that are, generally speaking, healthy and older age, but they look frail. Obviously, they're not obese, they're not overweight, but they're just, they can function okay, driving and go to the store or walking about, but they really can't do much aside from that. Even though they're not falling, they're not, tripping, they don't, require any kind of ambulatory devices to be able to assist with. They just don't have this pep in their step or the ability to really truly enjoy life and optimally and do things that they used to enjoy. So this is that's why it's extremely important for us to be able to really understand and practice safe and effective strength training. So with the loss of muscle and strength, we also become a lot more susceptible by default to brittle bones, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, back pain, general body pain, and joint pain, frailty, like I said, falls, and ultimately loss of independence, which is a very, very real thing for a lot of people. That they cannot even drive a lot of times because they don't have the strength, the fitness required to have better reflexes and to have the strength to get in out of the vehicle, whatever it might be. And it really is sad, and it doesn't have to be like this. So the loss of muscle, okay, or what is really considered as sarcopenia, that is the technical medical term. The complications are really, again, far and beyond just the independency and the weakness and inability to fully enjoy life. But when it comes to sarcopenia, okay, especially when it's accomplished now with obesity, what people call skinny fat, or people that even have morbid obesity but have very low muscle mass. That adds a whole nother complexity to the problem. And it is a fact. It has been proven that these people, without fail, have other comorbidities, and that loss of muscle tissue, okay, the drastic loss of muscle tissue, it leads to higher mortality rates, cardiac problems, pulmonary problems, um, higher hospital costs, infections, abscesses, and wounds, because a lot of people, they literally sit on the couch all day, or just sit in general, whether in bed or a chair or couches. They don't have the activity, they don't have the ability to properly move. And ultimately, then the next step from that for those people is a bedridden, scenario. Now, this is obviously not everybody, but it's becoming a very big commonality in our society, because obviously we're well above 60% of morbid of obesity epidemic in our country. And as people age, the obesity either increases, or even if it stays the same, or perhaps even slightly decreases, their loss of muscle mass drastically and exponentially increases. The problem is nobody can see that. So unless somebody measures it through either hydrostatic weighing, DEXA scan, or any other viable measuring devices that can look at body composition, it's really not detected. The weight scale is really not going to make a difference a lot of times. So it's really a sad scenario. In addition, when somebody's obese, when they lose weight, they're complemented. But a lot of times people don't realize that, say somebody loses 50 pounds, 60 pounds, well, maybe 15, 20 pounds of that, 30 pounds of that, it might be actual body fat, but the rest can be water and muscle mass, which a lot of times happens. And they don't have, because they're not measuring properly, they're not seeing that muscle mass is going away. So this just adds another, honestly, massive complexity, to the issue at hand. So to me, this is unacceptable. It really isn't acceptable, and it doesn't have to be accepted. Okay, this does not have to be, unless someone has obviously a physical injury or some kind of obviously neurological disease or damage substantiates that excuse. But other than that, for most people, it does not. Okay, so the reality is that we can hang on to muscle tissue, and if anything, actually increase our strength at any age, relatively speaking. And people always ask, well, is it too late? It's not. I mean, you can be 90 years old, 80 years old. You can start training properly, and you'll be amazed at what happens. Now there is massive proof. I had the pleasure of speaking to a professor in physiology in my country when I visited, and he actually made me aware of a doctor. His name was Dr. Pavel Dobrev, which I actually have his original books. I purchased them. They're from the 1970s and early 80s. He, in my country, Eastern Europe, in Bulgaria, he's one of the first guys to actually started training with high resistance weight training with elderly people 50 plus, and a lot of his patients were actually in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. He had a couple of people in the early 90s. Every one of those people had phenomenal success. Mind you, they were training with free weights, primarily barbells. Barbells are, you can Google what a barbell looks like, but it's one of the most effective tools that actually strength training can be really acquired with. Now, for most people, but they actually train with free weights and heavy resistance. That means that they were performing close to near the maximum capacity. And of course, initially, this doctor, he was actually blamed and criticized severely, and that he was going to kill those people, he's going to give them heart disease, heart attack, strokes, and just really damage them, cripple them. And completely the opposite happened. First of all, nobody had an injury, a single one. There was no obviously a heart attack or a stroke, but every single one of his subjects, the first round, experienced drastic improvements, which most of them actually stayed in the complex and kept training for actually decades on end, because the guy passed away just recently at 95 years old. in 2022. But the point being is he kept those studies all the way until early 2002. There's even a video on YouTube, actually, a small documentary for him. It's in Bulgarian, but it's amazing. And coincidentally, I've watched that video. I just never really put the two and two together. The point being is there's been a lot of people in our industry that have really proven from long ago, over half a century ago, that strength training is greatly beneficial. In the United States, the earliest person who really had a lot to do with that was a guy named Bob Hoffman, who used to own and print Strength and Health magazine from 1938, I think, all the way to the 70s. I'm not sure, but he, in there, again, had, his message was anybody has to strength train, and done with free weights is definitely the best way to go. It was really amazing. He did a great job. I have a lot of his magazines from 1938 and 1940s, 50s, and 60s, and I can vouch for that. And you can actually see a lot of those people over the decades, the same people progressing and really thriving. So this is nothing new. The issue is that it's not easy to do because it has to be respected, to what it is. And in this case, this type of exercise is medicine. It is honestly the most powerful medicine available to healthy aging. Unlike pharmaceuticals, exercise doesn't just treat symptoms and numbers. Okay, it really gets to a lot of the root cause of unhealthy aging, and exercising, powerful benefits on all levels of biological organization. That's a lot of people don't understand. Yes, you're not going to obviously cure a disease, somebody generally speaking, although osteoporosis and osteopenia has already been proven to actually be very reversible with the proper strength training. But in general, the proper exercise with high intensity strength training is greatly beneficial on many different levels. Okay, and that is on biochemical, genetic, cellular, metabolic, cardiovascular, epigenetic, musculoskeletal, neurological, and psychological levels. So it really has excellent benefits. Listen, everybody knows that exercise is good for you. The problem a lot of people don't understand is what is proper exercise and what is good exercise. Yes, walking is good, swimming is good, biking is good, obviously, but they'll never have the benefit and that kind of physiological response of the body that proper strength training does have. So again, no other form of really of exercise brings that or comes close to that. So accordingly, a lot of people, don't know how, to use it. It has to be prescribed, honestly, just like as medicine or like a high-end, good quality supplement, or supplements have to be prescribed, right? Usually people are told, "Oh, get more exercise" by the doctor. Well, what the hell does that mean? Get more exercise? I mean, go garden, or maybe go walk another 5,000 steps. That ain't going to cut it. Is it better than not doing it? Of course, absolutely, but it's not going to do it. So the whole mantra of, well, you get more exercise. It's a very worthless advice. That's like somebody having an active infection and the doctor would go get some antibiotics. Well, what kind of antibiotics? For what infection, what dose, what strength, what sequence, supplement, go get some magnesium for, your headache, or, for heart health. Well, what form of magnesium should I get? What dosage, what frequency, how should I administer, with food, without food, specific matters. Okay. So just like medicine and proper, holistic conventional medicine, exercise is very powerful, but it must be prescribed accordingly. So that means, what is the formulation? It has to be a proper formulation, a proper route of administration, a proper dosing, a proper frequency, and ultimately have a proper therapeutic target. Okay. So everybody can get strong. Everybody. And honestly, everybody must get stronger. We're going to a absolute physical, aside from the moral, but physical degeneration in our society like never before. People are sick, they're busted and disgusted. A lot of them are tired of being, sick and tired. And, chronic diseases, I've ran my mouth on this podcast for every single time, ultimately, is absolutely skyrocketing. There's zero evidence of that slowing down any way, shape, or form. And we have to get serious. We have to do something about that because we are going to struggle. So I know mostly I speak about processed food, ultra-processed food, but proper exercise of strength training is a must. It's not an option, really is a must, and it greatly complements and synergistically, exponentially for the better works with healthy lifestyle and nutrition. Okay. So, I really want to emphasize the importance of that. Jack LaLanne, if you guys remember him, I learned a lot from him. He's, obviously way, way older than I am, but, I've studied his materials. I have his books. I watched his videos. The guy was amazing. He really deeply cared for the state of being of our country and our health. He had a TV show, as a lot of you guys know, for the longest time. But his motto is every day he got up, he always asked, how can I serve? How can I serve people so they can get healthy? Yeah, he got mocked like anybody else, he got made fun of, but the man was solid. And he had a really cool saying I used to love. Exercise is king, and nutrition is queen. And when you have great exercise and a great nutrition, you're going to have a very good, healthy, strong kingdom. Some people say, nutrition is king, exercise is queen, whatever, doesn't matter. But get to the big picture here. And the bottom line is those two work synergistically excellent together and exponentially increase each other's benefits. Now, just for illustrative purposes, if you don't change anything else in your life, and if you truly begin to strength train properly, alone you will see a massive difference and improvement in your health without fail, including blood marker panels, that you pull, just muscle mass increase, body fat decrease, intense, high quality, appropriate strength training, tailored to you. It does wonders for lowering blood sugar. While doing it, overall and just resting blood sugar. It's really amazing what it does. So the benefits, again, they really truly are potent. I have a graph here. I don't know how to make it available to you guys, but the role of mechanism in exercise with proper strength training, and you guys can look it up. This was done by it's a research study by Wang Q Zhu W. It's called Roles and Molecular Mechanisms of Physical Exercise Strength Training in Cancer Prevention and Treatment. Now, this was published in the Journal of Sports and Health Sciences in 2021. It is 10 parenthesis 2 double colon 201-210. If anybody wants to look up the reference, you're more than welcome to. I know some of you guys like to check things out. But real quick, so look at the benefit of exercise. It decreases cardiotoxicity, increases cognitive decline, can stop, greatly retard or even reverse osteopenia and osteoporosis, decreases overall oxidative stress and fatigue because it increases the energetics of the body, improves mitochondrial function, increases blood perfusion, really has a positive effect on angiogenesis, help the infiltration of immune cells. It is a proven fact that cancer has positive effects on breast cancer, colorectal, gastric, endometrial, esophageal, kidney cancer, and also smokers of lung cancer, what it's called. Immune modulation system response, regulation of cancer metabolism, how really actually helps with the proliferation of cancer cells and metastasis. A lot of the immune response, which the article on the graph gets in here pretty detailed and goes into biochemistry pretty heavily, but it really is amazing. I just cannot say enough. I started officially being in the fitness and health industry in 1996. In 97, I finished my certification and I got my license certification, whatever you want to call it. And I've been practicing ever since. When I was in college, when I was actually doing the pre-med program there in the University of South Florida, I I kept training people, and I kept being involved in strength and conditioning, and at different times, different places. But the majority of people that I worked with, and especially after we started our practice with my wife in 2006, we really worked majority with people that are 40 and over. Average person was between 40 and 60 years old. And the benefits that we saw are absolutely amazing. And we did. We practiced with free weights, with those barbells and dumbbells. Obviously, exercise have to be modified based on the person's, anatomical limitations or other potential issues that they, could have or have had. But the bottom line is the results that we got were amazing with people. And even some of the folks had no interest in stopping alcohol. They had no interest in changing the diet. That alone, again, all relatively else being the same, they got still phenomenal benefit just from the exercise alone. It was proper. 90% of our clients back today worked out for an hour twice a week. That was it. A lot of them had no time. A lot of them had no desire, nor did they really wanted whatsoever to do anything else. Some folks came in 3 times a week, but majority were twice a week, and that was it. Yeah, some maybe walked, some swam, played golf, depending. That was in Florida, but majority were 1 hour twice a week, hit it hard, call it a day, go about your life. And again, I can vouch, the testimonials that we used to have, and that I've seen personally, it's amazing. So I really encourage you guys to really take this seriously and really get involved in, strong medicine, strength training, what I call it. I mean, another thing too is people always ask, is there research behind this? Yes, there's a growing body of published research that shows the strength training, not exercise in general, strength training, the difference is the most important form of exercise for those people in their 40s and beyond. Go to Google Scholar, go to PubMed. You'll be amazed putting strength training benefits or strength training exercise benefits. So again, it attacks multiple therapeutic targets and tissues to promote overall healthy aging. Okay. Strength training with barbells and dumbbells is definitely the best route of administration for, again, what I call strength training medicine, because it does permit the most exquisite and exact dosing, has a strong safety, it definitely has the broadest range of fitness attributes, and has the greatest simplicity and efficiency of any other methods. So that's something that you can do at home. You can do in your closet. You obviously can do it at any gym you go there. You don't need fancy machines and specialty items that some gyms don't even have, and the ones that they do, you have to pay a hefty membership for. It really is amazing what you can do, and that is definitely by far the best route. Now, are there options and are there situations that some people cannot use dumbbells and barbells? Of course. You can always get a great benefit just using cables and machines if they're properly loaded. But that still to a point is inferior. And people always ask me over the years, how come machines and cables are not, the best, for strength training and just in general compared to dumbbells and barbells? And that's very simple. Us as human beings, we function in a three-dimensional plane. Machines and cables are two-dimensional. So you don't have this stability. That's why on a machine, you can load the machine to a higher weight that you can lift with a dumbbell or with a barbell. The simple reason is because you have to stabilize that weight, and depending on the plane of motion, some exercises require greater stability. But because of that, really trains the central nervous system very well, and the peripheral nervous system, and the whole neuromuscular and endocrine system of the body, and stimulates those desired, like I said, therapeutic targets that we're after. And so that's why it has so much more carryover. That's why, somebody doing, for example, a barbell deadlift, they're going to get so much more out of it from 30 minutes of that done the right way than there was from, an hour, 2 hours of machine training ever. It's just the way the body gets stimulated, it's unprecedented. But anyway, that's a discussion that you guys can research on your own. But just keep remembering that it really is important to strength train. And I've seen nothing but great results. The safety, again, is unprecedented if done properly. Yeah, you might have to search a good personal trainer, a good coach to be able to teach you those lifts. They're not really hard to learn, but it's always best to have somebody that can guide you the right way. But even if you are doing basic things like box squats and a low box, a step up, walking lunges, dumbbell deadlifts, standing overhead presses, these are fundamental basic exercises that hit the whole chain of the body and every plane that we move in, and that will address everything. Again, doesn't have to be complicated, does not have to be anything fancy. Like any other industry, the fitness industry has really seen its toll on the latest and the greatest programs and fads and forms of exercise and all sorts of nonsense. Some of them are okay, some of them are obviously not okay, some of them are outright dangerous, and some of them are pretty worthless. But the oldest form is basic strength training with free implements, and those free implements are going to be dumbbells and barbells. Ultimately, best case scenario, barbell will even supersede a dumbbell, ultimately. So I encourage you guys to train. Remember, we have, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, arthritis, blood pressure, and other medical chronic conditions that, are prevalent. And none of those conditions are contraindicated from strength training, because literally proper strength training is a form of medicine. It plays a very important part of these degenerative diseases, slowing and even, arresting their progress. And a lot of times helping them prevent them before, they even strike. So these are very strong reasons, to train and live a healthy lifestyle and eat a healthy, good, nutritious diet that is appropriate for you. So just think about that. People always ask me, well, if I don't have 2-3 days a week to train. First of all, a lot of people assume that they have to train 4, 5, 6 days a week, and you do not. If anything, nobody does. I love training. I love my gym. I just always have. But I can't. If I had to train 4 days a week, I couldn't. I would love to. I'd love to train every day, but I couldn't. I just can't handle it. And that is, it's not the point. But even 1 day a week done properly, you'll be able to reap excellent benefits from strength training. Now, things like walking and biking and swimming, low impact, low end, low intensity forms of cardiovascular. Of course, you can do this every single day. The whole mantra that gets repeated, the 10,000 steps a day, actually that's very beneficial. It is actually pretty true. It's a very good general concept. There is also good research behind it as well. So absolutely, walk as much as you can, bike, swim, hike, play golf, have fun. If you're able to, play games like basketball and football and softball and, I don't know, tennis, pickleball, now it's popular, go for it, have fun. But whatever you do not neglect strength training, because strength training will augment any of these activities by default. So anyway, this is a short 28-minute webinar today, or podcast. But if you guys have any questions, please go to our website, DrPND.com. Reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, we're here. If we can help you in any way, we can. We gladly will do so. As I said before, I've been in the strength training and health and fitness industry since 1996. As I always say, I never claim to know it all, but I know a lot. I have a lot of experience, and I just want to bring my experience, personal and professional, to you guys and tell you the bottom line of what works and what doesn't. And simplicity almost always reigns supreme. So I hope you guys have a great day and get on to some good strength training. And I'll see you next time in health.
Thank you for your valuable time and for listening to the Your Health Reclaimed podcast with Dr. PND. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and share this episode with a person you know it can help. If we can help you in any way, or you would like to connect with Dr. PND, please visit DrPND.com. That's DrPND.com.